All right, my dear hookers, I am back. All right, so having said that, I did do a smaller video earlier, and it was just promoting, telling you why I've been gone for so long, and promoting the 1,000 subscriber stream that I'm going to be doing, and what's going to be given away. So, as you can see, getting back to our Lazy Daisy summer tank, as you can see, I have worked ahead. I have put together all 12 of the pieces the squares that we did. We still have, so that I can show you how to put them all together, we still have the final 4, okay, of the triangles to put together, so I can show you how that all works. But first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to put together the triangles, then we're going to do the rest of it. I may have to do this in 2 or 3 videos, so bear with me. I'm going to do my best to make this as perfect as possible, and pray my editing skills are up to the mistakes that you all know I make. So here we are. First things first, I have to run upstairs and grab a yarn needle because I took all my yarn needles upstairs. I don't have a one down here. So I'm going to put you on hold for 1 second. Okay, just like magic, here they are. So for the final bit, you are going to need your trusty handy dandy size 4, but, oops, that's a size 4, 5.5, and do I not have my 4.5 down here? I might have to put you on hold one more time. You are also going to need your 4.5, and I don't think my 4.5 is down here because I took them all upstairs because apparently I'm a very silly hooker. So to reiterate, you are going to need your size 4, but you are also going to need a size 4.5. It's fine, okay, either way. So to give you how I did all of this, you've got some options, okay? If you haven't done in your ends like I have, and you can see that it does flip up, okay? It's fine because when you wash it and then ultimately block it, you're going to discover that you can make those edges stay perfectly still. Plus, we are going to be doing a border around it, okay? So if you haven't done in your ends because you like to work your ends in as you go, that's fine. Do that. I did mine in as close to one end as possible. I started here and I worked my way all the way around in a V, all the way around my V. And then, so when I finished, I think I started here. Oopsie. Yeah, I started here. Oh dear. Okay, let's try that again. So when you're doing this, what you want to do is you want to start, okay, with your sticky outy piece over here. So you've got four laid out up top, 4 laid out in the middle, and 4 laid out in the bottom. And that gives you your 12, okay? Start in this corner and you go 1, 2, 3, bloop, 4, 5, 6, bloop, 7. Now that puts together your top row and your middle row. But now that you've ended here, you can also put on your bottom row. And you just do exactly the same thing. If you are working in ends, you can do this any way you want. But you want to have, obviously, to get them together into a nice little space for your top, you want to have 4 and then, there we go. You want to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see if I can show this a little bit better. Can I do this? Let's see. All right. So this is the back, the wrong side of my top. So you want to have your 4 for your top row, and then opposite that, you want to have the 4 in the middle row, and then same 4 in the top row. And then what's going to happen is we are going to fold this over like so and like so. And then we're going to stitch this together. But before we do that, I want to get the bottom on because I don't So many times I've seen so many people go, oh yeah, just stick these two together and then you can finish off the one. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. And also one of the reasons I had to wait as long as I did was because I was waiting for the customer to come back from her holidays, and I had to measure this on her. And let me tell you, this fits her beautifully. Now, using the yarn that we used, okay, the cotton, the baby softy baby cotton, sorry. And using the size 4 hook, and then using the size, the yarns that I used, okay. It was a 50% cotton something. I don't remember what it was. I do apologize, everyone. I really should leave my wraps on them so I can show you. But using the baby cotton and the size 4 hook, it was a perfect size small using that extra row that we did. Okay. For somebody who is an extra small or even a double XL, or for a child, okay, you can just do the one row and then the finish row of the squares. And again, that I will do my best to put together a pattern for the extra large, all of the extra people who have maybe a little bit more junky trunk like me. But for right now, this is for a small medium. Okay. And it fit her beautifully. Like I am astounded at how well it fit her. So having said that, we're going to use the whip stitch. I find that even though you can see the stitch, because we're using the same color, okay, let me get this up here. Because we're using the same color, can we see that? There we go. Okay. Because we're using the same color as the end of the squares, you really don't see that whip stitch. Even when I pull it apart, you're not seeing it a whole lot. And excuse me. And that's what I like. Even in these corners where I had to dipsy doodle a little bit, you can see a bit, but not a lot. And it's going to give you that strength that even if somebody's asked for this who isn't a small, but wants to pretend to be a small, they can still wear it and it's not going to fall apart on them. All right, so let's turn wrong side only. Now what we're going to do is we're going to choose just, first of all, just one, okay? And we're going to put this, I'm just going to kind of make this a little easier to see. All right, there we go. And as you can see here on my triangles, I have a little dipsy doodle here. That's fine. That's going to be fixed. Okay, so if your triangles have a little bit of an oopsie, okay, like mine did, where I really messed up, but that was my first one and I didn't notice it till I did my second, third, and fourth one, and then I got angry at myself, but whatever. All right, so you want to have a fairly long piece of yarn. I don't know if I've ever measured my yarn or not, but that's okay. Oopsie. There we go. All right, let's get rid of those. Okay. You're going to need a fairly good sized bit of yarn, because the worst you can have happen, okay, especially when doing this big part, the worst you can have happen is to have to change that yarn 15,000 times. If you are working in your ends and you've left nice long ends, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be working in those ends as you stitch, right? So if you're using the ends, the final ends to do your sewing, just remember that you need 4 and then over 1, 4, and then back 4. Okay, I hope that made sense. All right, so now with this, we're going to have to do a little bit of making sure, and you have to do this throughout the whole thing, which is why I'm really kind of glad we're doing this way. So you've got to make sure, okay, that your corners all line up, and that way you get a nice, neat, some of them are going to have little holes, like this one has a bit of a bigger hole, this one has a bigger hole, some of them I've got, there are no holes at all, like none, and that's kind of how I like it. But remember, this is crochet. We've got this area here, which already has these holes in them. Okay, so be kind. Don't freak out. So what I'm going to do now is the thing that I absolutely hate doing is I'm going to make sure that my yarn isn't going to come out while I'm sewing. Not that we're going to be pulling hard. We are not going to pull this tight. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure that while I'm sewing, this end stays firm. And while whoever is wearing this is wearing it, it's not going to come out. And I've made myself, there we go. Oops. And very carefully, you're going to have to pull this a little bit slower. This sewing is not a quick sew, especially while your ends are so long. And making sure that I'm catching another area, I'm just going to push this back one more time. There we go. And because these corner bits are back and forth as opposed to in the round, it really doesn't matter which side you choose as your wrong side. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to move my phone a little bit so I can see a little bit better. There we go. Sorry, everyone. All right, so let's get this back in the middle. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I've got my end here. I'm going to attach it to the corner over here so that when I'm stitching, okay, so here's our double crochet and our chain spaces where this is around. I want to catch right where I started my yarn, okay? So that when you look at this, oopsie, see, this is what happens. There we go. This is what happens, and this is the drawback of using the long yarn. So what I want to have happen is the corner is at the corner, okay? So you've got 1, 2, 3 chain spaces. Catch it on that third chain space. So 1, 2, and then in the third, catch it there. And then all you're going to do is find your V's, okay? And as much as possible, line up the V's, okay? And then pull it through. And then just give it a little snug tug, but don't give it, I'm going to put my finger there. Don't give it a yank like that. Just a snug tug. Oh, I like that. I might have to use that a little more. And then make sure, excuse me, make sure as much as possible that you are lining up your stitches with what you've got going on in the square that you're attaching it to. It does not have to be perfect, okay? But it has to be as close as possible. So, for example, see here, I'm using my last double crochet and my last double crochet, okay? And even though I already did one in that last double crochet, I'm still going to do it again so that my spaces line up, okay? My spaces are going to line up. I'm going to catch that V and the V and pull. There we go. Nice and easy, right? And now my double crochet V and my double crochet V. Bloop. There we go. And you're going to do this all the way up to the corner. So V, oops, my space V and my space V lined up. That'll save you a lot of heartache later, okay? My double crochet V, whoopsie, and my double crochet V, which is right there. Oops, there we go. I'm hoping you can all see this. Okay, and now my space V. My space V is here. My space V is here. And it doesn't look like it's going to line up, but trust me, it does. Okay, and you're going to do this all the way around. Now, if you find yourself looking like it's really not going to line up, just give it a bit of a tug this way, and you'll find that it all lines up again. So double crochet V, pull through. Oops, there we go. Snug tug again. So space V, pull through. Okay. And again, double crochet V, and pull through. I'm hoping you guys can see all this. I got schmutz on my project. Okay, now I'm going to go to the space V, and space V, and I'm going to pull through. And as you can see, those stitches are really disappearing within the other stitches. Yes, you can see some of them. Again, give it a bit of a snug tug and they just completely disappear just about. Okay, and now I'm going to do my double crochet V, and snug tug. Just a little bit. And space V, and pull. Okay? And double crochet V, and pull. And every few stitches or so, you're going to want to just give it a bit of a snug tug. There we go. See? There we go. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to line up. I promise you it's going to. Unless I've made like super horrible, oh my God, what have I done mistake. This will all line up. I promise. Okay? So double crochet, double crochet. Try not to split the yarn if you can. Give it a snug tug. Perfect. And space V. We're good to go. And see, it's lining up. It's lining up beautifully. Okay? Doesn't look like it's gonna. I promise you it will. Okay, double crochet V. And here's where it's gonna get a little bit persnickety, just for you, Ascendant. I do love saying that word. Now, because we've got 3 double crochets here instead of a double crochet in a space, we are going to have to put a double crochet, a space V with a double crochet V. Okay? And you're going to find that you're going to have to double up there again. Okay? But it's fine. All right? Now your last double crochets in this, just again, do that. And I do think I actually made just a tiny little error, but that's okay because I can fix this. There we go. Okay? Now I'm going to give this a snug tug just to make sure that it's all good. And as you can see, it lined up beautifully. It doesn't, they don't need to know that it didn't completely line up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to get your space V from your space stitches, your space V from your your space stitches. However, on this second one, you're going to get your space V. Oopsie, I can't find my space V. Where is it? There it is. Okay, space V. Now, you're going to have to come up here on this one up here and grab the space V, right? And then the last 2 you're going to grab is your new corner, space V only, not double crochet V. And you're going to come right down back into the middle space V of the piece you're putting back on. Okay, so there's one of the corners. Now, as you're doing just 2 corners, you're only going to have to worry about adding up the space V's for those 2 pieces. But once you start getting 3 together, that's where this becomes so vital. Okay, now, we're just going to come back around. I'm going to do this last one with you and then show you how to do this corner and come back up. And then I will let you finish this entire piece on your own while I finish my last triangle pieces. Most of you will know how to do the slip stitch, making sure that it catches everything. As you can see in here, I've got some little bits and bobs. Can you see this one? I don't know if you can or not. Right there where I've split the yarn, that is fine. You know what? When it washes, it's going to all go. There's another one that I can see. Can you see that? Where I've missed one of the bits of the yarn. Again, totally fine. Okay, when you're using this Softy Baby Cotton, because I guess I can use my end here, because it has so many strands within it. Okay. It's a pain in the tushy. However, it really does provide a nice finish. When I showed what this looked like to my client, she was tickled pink. When I told her it was baby cotton, she was tickled pink even more. She said, you haven't even washed it yet, and it feels so soft. So she understands the whole washing process. She understands, sorry, everyone. She understands that, yes, I'm going to be washing this. Yes, it's going to get softer even. Yes, I'm going to wash it in probably Lana Wash, even though Lana Wash is for wool. I would probably wash this in cold water, gentle cycle. And if you've got even Tide, I think Tide puts out and I'm not sponsored, everyone. I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. But I think Tide has a wool wash or something like that. You can also buy Lana Wash. That's harder to find. You have to go to a yarn store to buy that. Mom swears by it. She swears by it. Anything handmade, Mom makes with Lana Wash, or Mom washes with Lana Wash, except for, of course, her dishcloths. She doesn't really care about those because they go through hell anyway. Sorry, everyone. I didn't mean to say that word. They go through the wash all the time. There we go. All right, so let's get back to work. So now I'm just going to pick up my chain stitch, but I don't want to make a mess of my system, so I'm not going to pick up the next double crochet. I'm actually going to go back into the chain stitch that I already went into, because I want these corners to be, goodness, I have schmutz on my table. I'd have to yell at my granddaughters. And this is where it kind of gets a bit fiddly, because you kind of have to go backwards. You can fix it and go this way around it. I just like all my stitches going the right way. So I'm going to pick up my first one, and make sure I'm not going to cause a knot. And away we go. Okay? And again, I want my stitches to look as uniform as possible, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. In the second one, and in the second one. Okay, now this one obviously has a third again. So rather than going into this space, I'm actually going to go back into that same double crochet and catch my third one. I know it could potentially cause problems. However, I also know that I can stretch it out like that and it's fine. But I want my space, my chain one spaces and my double crochets to line up as close as possible. Even if that means that at corners I have to do some dipsy doodling, I don't care. Okay, let's put this back in the middle. There we go. Now I'm going to line up my double crochet and my double crochet, and away we go. Okay, and give it a bit of a snug tug, and my chain space, and away we go. Oopsie. Got caught on the corner of the table. Okay, and then double crochet, and pull. And again, don't forget to give it a snug tug. Put your finger in first, give it a bit of a snug tug. Those stitches disappear. They look like they're supposed to be there. Chain space, oopsie, chain space, and pull. Oh, goodness. This is very, it's a very pain in the butt doing it down here. I'm used to doing it up in my grandma chair. Double crochet, whoopsie, double crochet, and pull. Okay, give it a snug tug. I like saying that. Chain space, that chain space was incredibly loose. Don't tell anybody, okay? And give it a pull. Almost to the end of this row, this, and then double crochet, and again, we're going to have to do some dipsy doodling at the end. It's fine. It's fine, everybody. We got this. Chain space, pull. Okay, give it a snug tug. Double crochet, double crochet. I'm hoping you're all seeing this. I didn't think to look to see if it was still on camera. I will move this up a bit. There we go. Oh, there we go. Snug tug. Chain space, and pull. Okay, double crochet, double crochet, and pull. Chain space, where is it? There it is. Chain space, And as you can see, I'm doing it through the V's to make it so as uniform as possible, okay? So that the V's face each other when I'm done. Double crochet, and here we are back to the corner, so we're going to have to do some dipsy doodling. Okay. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, but I've only got, well, I've got a space here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that first double crochet and put it in with the space and pull. That first double crochet, second double crochet, put them together, pull. The third double crochet and the second double crochet. So it kind of does work. It's just, it's not perfect. Okay. And I'm fine with not being perfect because I would rather enjoy my work than have to struggle with perfection. Now, here is a bit of a pain in the tushy bit going on here. We're going to take the first, the first chain of our center, or the first chain of our chain 3, and the first chain of our chain 2, and put them together. Okay. Give it a bit of a snug tug. Our second, so the middle one of the, there we go. Okay. And the second one here, it's going to be a touch fiddly, but we got this. And then the last stitch, we're just going to take that second one, that middle one again, and we're going to put it through our first double crochet. Okay. And then what happens here, okay, is we have room to put our next, there we are. The next one on, okay, without really drawing this out and making it look funky. Okay. So let's grab our next one and I'll show you what I mean. So let's toss our next one on here. And again, I really don't care much. Or do I care? No, I don't really care. Because what we're going to do is we're going to keep using the same yarn, the same cotton. We're going to go into the third chain and the double crochet. And we're going to pull that through. Oopsie, I made a knot. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Give it a bit of a tug. And again, what's going to happen is we are going to be doing 2 full rounds along the bottom. I've seen some people do little wavy bits on the bottom. I think that this, because it's so simple and so plain, I think just 2 rounds of single crochet, one to catch all of the stitches, and the second one, excuse me, and the second one to make sure that everything is all evened out. If I find that I don't like just having 2, I would put 3. If I find that it's not long enough for the person who's wearing it, myself or whoever, you can add as many as you want. And I'll show you again at the top when we start doing the straps. There we go. The straps, I will show you again how we can then take those straps, right? And we can make them as wide as we want or make them as narrow as we want. Now, this particular customer, client, whatever, she, again, is so tiny everywhere. She's an older lady. I would suggest she's at least my age, if not a touch older. And she is, without a doubt, tiny, tiny, tiny. I know she's got kids because I've met her daughter, one of her daughters, but she's just the tiniest thing. She is smaller than my grandmother Mello, who, when she passed, she was just tiny, tiny, tiny. She was so frail. And this lady, I do believe she has been active all of her life. I've heard rumors around town that she was active in a lot of sports professionally, as well as just because she can. Okay, back to work. So now we're going to take that last double crochet and we're going to put it into the chain 1 space. I know everyone. You're like, what? No, you can't do that. Yes, I can. Because I'm going to use it again. I'm going to take it, my double crochet V, and put it with my double crochet V. Okay, because this is going to actually line up. This one is one of those ones. They're going to have some of them that actually line up right to the corners and then others that don't. Okay, and it's fine. It's fine. Remember what I said. This is your creation. So double crochet, double crochet. Looks like I split the yarn. I don't really much care. Chain one space, chain one space, chain one space, and pull. Double crochet. So you get the idea now. I think I can leave you to finish your entire thing. Okay, I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to retell everybody. Okay, what you're doing is, let me just move my yarn needle so I don't lose it. I'm going to have it hanging down. Sorry, everyone. It might get in the way, but that's okay. We can work it out. So your ends are going to look like this. So your first row will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Your second row will be 1, 2, 3, 4. That other end will stick out like so that when we fold them together, we can now stitch this bit into that bit. Does that make sense, everyone? I hope so. We'll get there. I promise. Okay. And then when you're doing the third row, again, exactly the same positioning as the first row. So second will be in one, third row will be back the same as the first row, all the way across. So you will have one end looking like this, and the other end looking like this. Hang on, I got this. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Ha ha ha. So one end will look like this. Oopsie, don't lose it. There we go. And the other end will look like this. The outie bit will be put into the innie bit, and that just sounds vaguely wrong. I'm not going to say any more on that. So one end will look like this. One end will look like this. When you're putting it all together, you'll have 3 rows of 4. And then at the very bottom, you will have 4 triangles that will finish everything off beautifully. Okay? So I will catch up with you in a few minutes while I finish off this. If you need help again with corners, go back, rewind, see what I did here to make it a nice, neat, tidy corner. Again, be kind to yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember. This does not have to be perfect. This has to be you. Okay? Oh, looks like I missed an end. Okay. There we go. Oopsie, missed. There we go. When you're cutting your ends, I actually had to make a couple of extra squares because I messed up. And I actually should have kept them to show you what happens. I snipped one of the flower petals. And I didn't notice that I'd snipped one of the flower petals. And I'd snipped right through the yarn of just one bit of the flower petals. And I was throwing it around because I was trying to clean up my house and trying to get everything perfect for my kids and my grandkids. And bam, all of a sudden I picked this up again and I went, what happened? So I had to quickly make another square. But that's okay, because like I said, be kind to yourself. So I shall leave you with, excuse me, I'm getting myself something to drink apparently. And I shall leave you with this. I shall finish my last 4. You will finish all of your 12 plus your 4. And I will meet you at the end and we'll put this thing together and then we'll start the borders. But we're already 33 minutes in. I'm stopping talking. See you soon. Wait for it. Quick intermission. Sorry, everyone. But as you can see, let me pull this right up. Okay. I wanted to let you know. Can you see that? Okay. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm hoping you can. As you can see, I've not done the snug tug. Gosh, I love that. That is just too cute. I've not done the snug tug for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And as you can see here, okay, it's pretty loose. And I did that for a reason. If you do happen to forget to do your snug tugs, very carefully from the last point that you did your snug tug, very, very carefully. Oh, it's not working because I've done too many. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully pick up one of the snug tugs, one of the stitches, and I'm going to give it a snug tug from along the way. Now, as you can see, what's going to happen is it's going to disappear, but then I'm going to have a loop. So now further along, I'm going to have to pick up the snug tug, or the yarn that I'm using. And now I can now finish that. Oh, it's not going to work for me. Oopsie. I can do it stitch by stitch if the need arises. I'm kind of glad it didn't work, because then I can show you how that works. So just very carefully, stitch by stitch by stitch, and give it the snug tug that you need to make sure that now your work is all snugged down. All right? All right, back to work, everyone. See you soon. Alrighty, are we back and done again? So by now you should have one end, which is going to be your top end, that's going to have all your pointy bits. This is going to be your front and back and your put together-y bits. And then down here at the, whoopsie, let's try that again. And down at the bottom, you're going to, sorry everyone, down at the bottom, you're going to have this weird looking, kind of uneven, that's supposed to be straight look. Okay, there are two ways to do this. Okay, I have seen both. I prefer the flat bottom. However, if you're so inclined, now that you put them all together, but for your next one for yourself, for one for a friend, whatever, you can leave it so that the pointy bits are at the bottom again. Okay, that is more than fine. I've seen both ways. I prefer the flat bottom look, and so does my client. So that's why I did this. It's less work, a lot less work to do it without the half triangle or the triangles, because obviously, you know, it is what it is. So now what you should have, okay, so this is our wrong side. So I'm just going to flip this over so that I have the right side facing. Okay, and as you can see, this is where everything looks all nice and crisp and tidy and everything else. So now what I want to do is I want to fold it, okay, so that I can now put together this last bit, right? Because we have to, oh, I guess I should do it this way, eh? Okay, so now we have points together. We have points together. And the last bit we have to do is now put these three angles together. You can do this a couple of different ways. I still have bits left, a bit left. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and then I'm going to join up and come back up here. If you want to stop where you are, cut this off and then start down here, that's fine. But these three, 1, 2, 3 should be your last bits to put together. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm just going to quickly, like I said, again, all we're doing is whip stitching. That is it. That is all. And this will be our seam. Now, if we do this right, it will be a completely invisible seam. So it does not matter whether this is your back, your side, your front. It doesn't matter, because it should look exactly like everything else that we've put together. That's the hope anyway. So let's get started. If you're like me, this is where you've ended off, is at the end of your at the end of your fourth triangle and your fourth square. So now we have to put together these bits. So like I said, I'm just going to quickly put this one together, then start a new one for that. So let's get started. I'm going to again put these together so that they line up nicely. I have to admit, this last triangle, for some reason, did not want to put together. And I don't know whether it's because I missed a stitch in the making of it. I thought I'd counted, but maybe I forgot to count on this one. I don't know. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, it did not line up. I had to do some serious dipsy doodling. So when everybody tells you, when a master hooker tells you, oh, I never make mistakes, just do not believe them. Because I'll tell you, mistakes are a pain in the butt. And as I can see here, I've only put 2 chains in this one. So it might mess me up. It might not. We'll see. Okay. So again, we're going to put those points together. And then I'm going to find my first double crochet, and it is going to not line up 100% because I do have 3 here and I do not have 3 here. So we're just going to make this work for us because we can. The second double crochet with, whoopsie, I just about did that wrong, everyone. Like I said, if somebody tells you that they are perfect, do not ever believe them, because they're not. That's what's called taking artistic license in your work. A pattern will say, do it this way, and only do it this way. And sometimes those patterns work out beautifully, and more often than not, like what I've had happen, they don't. I have had stuff from some of my most favoritist artists and pattern makers, and I put it together and I've gone, well, you know what? I know I've counted this correctly. I know I've done this correctly, and it still doesn't work. So much dipsy doodling can be done. All right. And excuse me for just one moment. I will be right back. Sorry, everyone. I forgot to get a little throat lubrication there. All righty. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this all the way down, do my best to line everything up. But like I said, if somebody tells you, and goodness, I'm sorry, it drives me crazy, because even my mom's been crocheting probably longer than I've actually been alive. I was talking to her, and I'm sorry, everyone. I did not find the pictures of that wedding dress. So I'm going to have to go to the bride herself and see if I can get those pictures from her, because for right now, honestly, I cannot find. We went down memory lane. Oh, Mom and I had such a good time going down memory lane. It was fantastic. We looked through some pictures that I have not seen, oh heck, better than 30 years. And then, yes, this old pagan went to church and visited with some people that she has not seen since, oh goodness, since probably 10 years, at least 10 years. And I just had such a great time doing it. Sent some pictures off of our wedding day 33 years ago this week. We got married on the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. And Canadian Thanksgiving, everyone. Canadian Thanksgiving, which is October, the second weekend in October. And 33 years later, I was standing in that same exact spot, looking a whole lot older and a whole lot rounder. Let me just tell you. Anyway, okay, so Mom and I went down memory lane, saw some old things that she had made for me years and years and years ago, shared some stuff that she had made for me that, you know what, I've outgrown or I don't use anymore. And I shared that with my wonderful granddaughters, sent them home with, some beautiful things, beautiful things. And I know Mom will be pleased because Mom made them. And I know that she appreciates sharing the love that she shares with everybody else. So I'm not too worried about her. Oops, sorry, everyone. I'm not too worried about her getting angry at me for not keeping those things when I know that somebody who will love them just as much as I did for 20 years. Okay, so here is our first one done. All right, so now I'm just going to tie off, and this I used for the entire 4. Like I said, if you are using your ends to tie this in, great. That's what I would normally do. I just find that it's easier, but rather than, doing all your ends together. Now I am going to cheat just a tiny bit here because I've got this chain 3 spot here that's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. So I'm just going to bring this over like so. And that's just going to make that edge a little less noticeable. All I did was I took my last double crochet and I took it into the second chain. And now I'm just going to tie this off and start a new one to finish my last 2 sides. But anyway, I know that my mom, being the person that she is, my mom loves sharing what she makes with so many people. And I know that there is an awful lot of people out there, including my amazing granddaughters, who really appreciate handmade stuff. And if I may just give you a bit of a caution on doing these ends in, make sure that you're doing your ends in really, really, really well. Okay. This is, again, a wearable, so you want to make sure that your ends are in nice and tight. Again, oops, see, there's an end that I did not cut off firmly. I'll just get rid of that. Oops. Oh, I should get out my good scissors. I've forgotten how I hate these scissors. There they are. Be careful, again, like I said, if you're using super sharp snippers like these, you want to be careful you're not going to attack one of the bits and bobs of the yarn. Okay, so that part's done. And now, like I said, it's going to be pretty firm. Like, this is not going to have, it's going to have some give, but it's going to have a feel of its own to itself. And I'm not sure, but I think I might actually have enough room to do this to finish off. And I say that trepidatiously because sometimes I think I've got enough and then I don't. So I'm going to start this way down here. Give it a bit of a tug, like I said. Just a gentle one. And I'm going to make sure that my end is not going to show by snipping that off. There we go. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to, again, start it by finding that chain space. And, oopsie. There we go. And finding the chain spaces. There we go. All right. So now my corner looks nice and neat and tidy. And all I'm going to do is finish up this side exactly like we've been doing. Okay. And away we go. Making sure that it's a gentle, gentle, gentle bit. Okay. And doing my best to line everything up beautifully. Again, I don't want anybody to know that this is the final scene. So I want everything. Oh, look at that. Shame on me. There we go. I want to make sure that everywhere I put my squares together looks like everywhere else. I don't want anybody, well, okay. I don't want anybody who's not an experienced hooker to be able to see where my final seam was, okay? I want them to just go, oh, it was somewhere in there. And I know that the client that I'm making this for, the customer I'm making this for, bless her, she is as kind as the day is long. Don't forget to snug tug as you go. And I know for a fact that she does not stitch. In fact, I don't actually think she crafts much at all. She is more into, and it's very noticeable by her body type, she is much more into physical exercise than this. Snug tug again. Oh, I did that a little too far. So now I'm just going to pull this up just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to continue this all the way up. And we're already 48 minutes. I knew this was going to be a really super long one, but I also know that when we get to the single crochets around the bottom and the top, I know that by now you've watched all of my startup videos, my tutorials about how to actually crochet. And I know that all of my viewers, my fellow hookers, my dear, dear hookers, you are ready to do a lot of the single crochets by yourself. There will be a couple of things that I have to show you that are just a little bit so that we get nice, even edges, okay? And this roundy bit doesn't happen, okay? And for that, I might actually do, because I think this is going to be a bit short on her. I think she's got a bit of a longer body than what I thought. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do potentially 3 rounds of single crochet around the bottom. Like I said, I have seen shell bottoms. I have seen, there we go. I've seen shell bottoms. I've seen picot edging. And personally, I hate picots with a passion. I don't know why. They're such a cute little thing that you can use to finish off a garment or a blanket. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. There is the absolute cutest blanket pattern out there, and it uses picots about every 3rd/4th round. And let me tell you, I have avoided that pattern like the plague because I hate it so. That's how much I hate Picos. And I don't know why. I honestly, I lost my thread. I have no idea why I hate them so. There are so many. I've got my girlfriend who actually sent those printer spools that you saw in the little itty bitty video. She loves Picos, and she does that blanket pattern and says, why don't you do it? It's just so pretty. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, but thanks. And she just laughs at me. Goodness, she laughs at me terribly. Okay, so now I've got a nice, neat little edge here. I'm going to do my last edge, and then I'm going to tie this off. And then we're going to start the top so that we can make our things, straps for our arms. And again, you want to measure really, really carefully, like super carefully with these, because you don't want it to be super long, but you also don't want it to be super short. And like I said, I have measured this lady. This is going to be a very individual thing. I know that, like I said, I've measured her pretty closely. Everything so far has been almost form-fitting. It's been so perfect. This is me not complaining one tiny little bit. Oopsie, there we go. So this is me hopefully getting that measurement done as well. So I'm going to finish this off and then tie it off. There we go. And then I will come back to you, get your yarn ready, bloop, because we're going to be using this stuff. Now this is only, I actually bought way too much. I bought 4 balls because I thought, oh, it's going to take a lot more than that. This is only the second ball of this that I'm still using. So as you can see, when you're doing a size small, you do not use a whole lot of yarn for this. Now, again, the larger your blouse is or your top is, the more yarn you're going to use. So this little bit and this little bit, literally 1 ball of each, because you're not going to use it all up. You can use this for a dozen other tops. This for your small, extra. So right from the extra small all the way up to your medium. I don't think we're going to be using a third one. So I think you're good with 2 balls on that one. As we get into the patterns for the larger ones, you're going to want to add an extra ball. So you want to go into 3. And then ultimately for your, extra large, double extra large, triple extra large, and bigger, you might need to go into a 4. But again, with those double, triple, extra larges, like I said, I don't want these to be lost in all that sea of blue. So what I might actually do for one, because I think I want to make myself one of these because it's awful cute. I may make it a single color. And that way it's going to just be a single color granny. At that point, I can choose whatever bloody color I want to use and go from there. So, I will let you finish, this part up. That was unpleasant. I will let you finish this part up, and I will meet up with you with a slip knot on my hook and ready to go on the top portion of here, and we will go from there. All right? I'll be right back. Okay, so I lied. I came back early. So again, I don't want to have these big, huge things, but we're going to fix those later. Like I said, I don't care much for having these great big huge holes, but they are going to be fixed later. So bear with it. Just finish up what you can. You are going to have these on here. It's fine. Okay. So finish up, tie your yarn off. Remember, this is the wrong side that we're working with right now. And then we're going to turn it inside out and work with right side. Okay. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and I'm just putting my, oh goodness, well that was convenient. I am just putting my slip stitch or slip knot onto my hook, and I realized I still don't have my 4.5 downstairs. So I shall be right back. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll be right with you. Alrighty, so I'm back. And I see that I've got some serious smudge on this. I'm not sure what happened, but I have a feeling that somebody got into this. All right, so, but that's fine. We'll just leave that alone. Oof, there we go. Now, to finish this off, the reason I said put it right side out is because I prefer, and you may not, and it's fine. Remember what I said, this is your art. I prefer the right side having the right side of my single crochets. I find that it gives it a nice, neat, polished, finished look. But we are almost done. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose one of the corners, okay? Doesn't matter which one you choose. I don't care. Because looking at this, okay, I should, and I say that trepidatiously too, everyone, I should be able to see that it doesn't matter which way, which way I put it, it should always look similar. However, if you have one that's not as similar as the others, like one of these corners that it lines up with this, okay, that looks a bit funky, have that be, okay, we'll just say that this one is the best way to look. Have your funky stuff down on the sides because this, oops, sorry everyone. Let's try that one more time. All right, there we go. Let's just say, oh, I did it too far. Gosh darn it. Look at me being ridiculous. There we go. Okay, I got this. Okay, so let's just say we have a funky corner here and we have a funky corner here that we don't like, or we've got something that didn't line up properly or what have you. Try to put those where your arms are going to hang. Okay, so if you've got one that you didn't like as much as say some of the others along this seam here, that's fine. Just put it to the side. If everything looks reasonably, it looks like I'm back to where I started because there's my schmutz. If everything looks reasonably similar, you've done a good job. Great job, everyone. If you do have one that doesn't look the way it should, that is fine. Again, nobody is perfect. Absolutely nobody. Now, I don't know the original patterns that I've looked at for some of these tops say to use the 4.5, and I know this is a 4.5 because of the color and because it's a well-loved hook, as you can see. I'm a little bit concerned that our 4.5 is going to make the top part look bulky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that 4.5 to the bottom. We are going to be using the 4. And I know I should have said that a little earlier, but because I have to edit this on my phone, I'm going to have to leave it in. So changing that, we are going to start. Okay, here's my armpit. Okay, this is the top. This is my sides. This is my center. And this is where the straps are going to go. Okay. And if you think about it, this is where your boobs are going to go. Yes, I said that because there's other words for the chest area in women or men that aren't my favorites. Okay, so I've got my slip stitch going. Goodness, or slip knot, I should say. Now, you're going to have to be pretty careful here because we are going to be doing some skipping bits on this area here, okay? We don't want this to get all bunched up. So what we're going to do is we're actually, and I know that this one is a bit wonky, it's totally fine, all right? We're actually going to be starting in the first double crochet just to make our lives a little bit easier, all right? And again, the reason I chose to put it this way is because I preferred the look of the other stuff, all right? So, goodness, so I'm going to slip stitch, there we go. To get started, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do a single crochet in that very same stitch that I slip stitched into, all right? And I'm going to do a single crochet with my size 4 in every stitch around. But what we're going to do is we're going to do something a bit wonky when we get down to this area here, okay? Let me just get there first. So again, in every double crochet, in every chain space, we are going to be doing a single crochet. And as you can see, I'm actually working my end in because ends are not my favorite things in the world. So whenever I can, I try to do an end. And again, because we did a slip knot here, I have faith that that's not going to come out. All right. So I'm just going to do a single crochet in every stitch and chain space along the side. Okay. And what that's going to do, it's going to give some body to that edging. All right. And I'm going to come up here all the way to the top. Oopsie. Oh, shoot. Sorry, everyone. And here's where everything is going to differ. When we get to the top, there's a couple of things that you're going to have to remember, okay? And I'm going to try and do my best to show you the one that I'm going to do for my customer, and then to show you one that you can do for others who like a thicker, who like a thicker strap. Okay, so for me, let's be honest, in my advanced age and gravity and children, I know that I'm going to need to wear a bra with this. Because I'm going to wear an undergarment with it, I don't want that undergarment showing underneath my straps because I'm a little bit prudish. I don't have nice undergarments. I'm old. So my undergarments are Sears catalog are us or something along those lines. So I want mine to be at least 3 to 4 stitches across. So as I'm coming up the top here, I know that we're going to have 3 single crochets into this chain 3 space. Okay, got it? There, 3 single crochets. Now what I can do is I can do it even up to 5. I can do a strap that is 2 wide, 3 wide, 5 wide. If you're only going to do a 2 wide strap, you're only going to want to put 2 in there. Okay? Like I'm going to do for my customer because she only wants a very narrow itty bitty strap. So I'm only going to do a 2 wide. Okay? So when I come up here to do my strap, I'm going to come up and around and then back and around. Okay? So it's only going to be 2 single crochets wide. But again, like I said, if you put all 3 of them in there, you can have a 3 wide or a 5 wide. Does that make sense? For myself, I would definitely have put the 3 in there, and I would make mine, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My strap would then be this wide. Okay? And again, that is something that is totally a personal choice. All right. So let's keep going, because we're going to go down this side, and then I'll leave you on your own to finish this round really quickly. So I'm going to go a little faster here now. I've got to do my single double crochet, and then my, oh goodness gracious, chain, and then double crochet, and then, these are all single crochets I'm doing into each and every stitch. So I'm doing it into the double crochets, I'm doing it into the chains, and I'm going to come all the way down. Oopsie, sorry everyone. There we go. All the way down to the middle. Oh, for heaven's sakes. There we go. All the way down to the middle. And then we're going to pause for just a moment, and I'm going to show you how to do the middles. Okay. Oopsie. For goodness sake. There we go. Keep going. In every stitch and chain space. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this middle, and this middle is a bit of a juicy bit, okay? Because as you can see, I didn't quite finish where I should have. So I want to take this one, okay, this one, and this one. And I'm going to put a single crochet in each of those chain spaces. All right. So, and that's going to take that chain, those chain spaces, and it's going to snuggle them up nicely. Okay. So instead of having this look, which is, oh goodness, there we go, which is what's going on here, we're going to now have this nice look here that's going to be cinched up just a tiny bit, just at that tiny little bit. And then when we come back around to do our second round of crochet, that's going to snuggle that up nicely. Okay, so keep going. And in every point, you've got to remember, how wide do I want my straps to be? And that's going to dictate how many stitches you put into that chain space at the top. All right, so let's keep going. I'm going to keep going and putting a single crochet in each, in each and every stitch as I go. And what I'm doing is I'm just giving a nice, super nice edge to that granny square. And that gives us something to work with as we go. The bottom is going to be a little bit hinkier, but we'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. Okay, so now I'm back to my top. And again, I can put 2 or 3 in this top because I want it to be either 2 or 3 or 5 or even 7. It depends on you, right? Okay, just remember the wider your strap is going to be, you're just going to have to make it just a tiny bit longer so that you don't cut yourself off here at the underarm. Okay, but again, for this customer, I'm going to put 1 and 2, and that is all. All right, and then I'm just going to keep going all the way. There we go. Good gracious, there we go. All the way around, all the way around. I will do the next one for you so that you know what you're doing when you get to that V again, the valley of the V. Keep going, and then I'll leave you to finish your first round of this bottom. And again, this is something else that if you want to have a wider band along the top, you're more than welcome to. You just have to really be careful what stitches you're putting in and make sure you don't miss any stitches on your extra rounds. So for example, you think that, and here we are again, so I'm going to do 1. Let's just unfold that. There we go. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in there, 1 single crochet, and 1 single crochet. That's all I'm putting in there. And that's going to tighten that up nicely. Okay. And again, if you're going to continue doing rounds like this, and you want to do, say, an inch round at the top to match, say, an inch round at the bottom, be my guest. You're going to be using up a lot more of this, but you've got to really be careful you don't miss any of those stitches in those extra rounds. And always do the extra rounds before, before you do your straps. As many rounds as you want. Remember, you want to add 1 more for your straps, and then that's it. All right. So I will leave you here, and I will catch up with you when I get to my last couple of stitches for this round, and then we will do our straps. All right. Be back soon. Okay. So what I'm doing is now I've got my 35, right? 35 stitches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. We're going to catch these up on the other side. Trust me. Okay. And I made that last one a little bit too small. So I'm just going to remake the last 2 stitches because I had to stop the video and I messed up. But 1, 2. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to miss that first one close to the hook. And remember what I said about starting blankets. I want this to be a nice, tight strap. Okay. And this is also a strap that you can come back and make larger if the need arises, because you can just unhook it from here. Okay. Because we're going to be attaching these last. All right. All right. Here we go. So now I'm going to do back loop only. So here's our V's. If we flip this around, there's that bumpy thing there. Can you see the bumpy thing? Hang on. There we go. Can you see the bumpies on the back? That's what we're going to be crocheting into. What this is going to do, it's going to give us an, make sure you don't split the yarn. It's going to give us a nice uniform, there we go, uniform look to our straps. All right. And they're just going to be nice and tight. So if you decide to start this with a 2-row strap and only a 2-row strap, right? This is how wide it's going to be. It's literally going to be, let me get my thing out. It is literally going to be a spaghetti strap. Okay, we are talking less than half an inch. We're talking 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And again, this lovely lady, she's just so beautiful. I cannot say enough about her. And she is just so fit. It does not look like gravity has gotten her at all. That's all I'm going to say. And she is, I have a feeling, a little bit older than me, but I could be wrong. So all we're going to do is we're going to take these back loops only, okay? And we're going to come all the way down to the bottom of our chain. And you don't want to do these terribly tight. Like don't be like cinching these up, because we want to have a little bit of give, okay? It's not much, but as you can see, over 35 stitches, we're going to have some give, all right? And that's what we need. So I'm just going to keep going with this, oopsie, until we're almost done. And then I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to do these 35 single crochets in the back loop only of our chains. And again, what you can see is we have this nice uniform. So there's our back loop only singles, and there's our chain. And what that does is it gives us a really, really nice look to that strap. All right, and that's what you want. So that's why I said that it was absolutely vital you keep your chains as even as possible. Okay, you do not want your tension to be wonky, although if it is, like this one's a little bit looser, this next one is a bit looser, it's fine, because in the long run, one stitch isn't going to make a huge lot of difference, but when you have lots, you're going to see that difference. Okay, now you can see here, oopsie, did I miss one? I did not. I just made them a little smaller. So you can see here I've got a fairly uniform strap. Looks like I've got a little bit of a dipsy doodle. I should probably go back and take that out, but I will do that after I'm done the video. Okay. Like I said, this is actually for a client that I've made a few things for her now, and I want this to be perfection, but I am running out of time because I do have to get this done before Friday, and it's already Wednesday. So I need to get this done today so that I can get it into the wash, hang it to dry, and I will do my dead level best to get a picture of it on my dressmaker's dummy. Okay. I have a really difficult one going on there right now that, oh dear, poor Mary. Oh, bless her. She's been so patient with the project that I have going for her. Okay, so now I've got 2 more chains to do. So there's 1 and 2. Okay, so there's my chains done. Now, if I was to count that, I would have 34, not 35, 34. And I know that that's going to fit her nicely because, again, she is so tiny. So now I've already single crocheted into this one. So now I'm going to single crochet into, oh goodness, what have I done? What did I do there? Good gracious. Let's try that again. See, like I said, everybody makes mistakes. And while I was showing you, I messed up my stitch. Okay, so my single crochet was in that one. My next one is going to go into the second. And what that does, okay, yes, I realize that that's kind of a long chain there, and the next one won't be quite so bad. But again, I could put this in the back, and it's not going to be noticeable. All right. So now I'm going to continue coming around, and literally in every single stitch, I'm going to put a single crochet. Now there's a couple of things you can do at the bottom. I'm sorry, there we go. At the bottom is you can tighten that up. So if you want, so for example, let's say you're a smaller lady in the front, or you're making this for a guy, okay? You want to cinch this up just a little bit, that's great. For a guy, I would not cinch it up. Okay, if you're making this for a man and you're doing whatever you got to do, I would not cinch this up because a man's chest is very, 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 very flat for the most part. But for a woman or for somebody who is a they or a them, you can fix this. Okay, you may have to come back afterwards and cinch it up or undo the cinch. That's why doing these single crochets around is absolutely vital. And, before you finish this off, try it on your customer or the person you're making this for. Try it on yourself, what have you, okay? But what we're going to do in the valley, all right, is exactly what we did before. So we're going to just keep going around and around and around. Okay, so again, it does not matter, okay? What you can do if you don't like that look, okay? So we're going here, okay? You can completely skip that and do that. Oopsie. And again, that just gives you that look of the chain one double crochet, and that's kind of what we want because it's a continuation of what's going on. But I also know that this is going to be a little bit snug for her. So I do want to give her as much room as possible in this top so that she's not feeling like she's got to hold her breath. Okay. So I'm just going to do a single crochet in every stitch around until I get to the top of my, my next corner. My next square, I should say, sorry. And I'm just going to keep going, loads and loads and loads. And for those of you who say, how come you don't put out content more often? Let me just tell you, these videos take a long time, a devilishly long time to make. Okay. All right, here we go. There we are. Now, here is my 2 stitches. Again, it depends on how big you want this, all right? But I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to do 1, 2. And I'm actually going to make this one just a little bit snugglier because I know that what happened last time was because I just did what I did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17, 18, 19, 20. Did you see what I did there? I made that one a little bit bigger than it could have been. So I just snuggled it up a bit. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. All right, so there's my 35. And now I'm going to, excuse me, skip that first one, and I'm going to single crochet my way all the way back. As I was saying, sorry everyone, I thought somebody was coming in. Thought I was going to have to put you guys on hold. All right, let's see what I was doing there. As I was saying, okay, the reason a lot of us creators, especially us newbies, don't put out a whole lot of content at first is we do everything ourselves. We do all the stitching ourselves, which is fine, but we have to make 2 of everything. All right. So I've actually already made one of these so that I know my pattern works and I know I'm doing what I want with it. And I gave it away because it was not perfect. So I gave it away. This second one, I've taken all the notes that I need to make on it. I've printed out everything that I want to print out on it. I've done everything I want to do on it. And now I'm making this for my dear friend and customer. And so as a result, okay, I know what this is going to look like and I know it's going to be perfect for her. Okay. So it's not just taking the time to make all of the things that go together into the pattern. Then afterwards, you have to make sure that everything fits. You have to make sure of schedules. When I'm just making blankets for my table, it's a little bit different. In fact, I do have something I do want to show you all because I'm actually quite proud of it. So I might do another short video when I'm done with this one. Okay, keep going, Sherry. But anyway, these videos aren't just the hour or hour and a half or, sometimes 2 or 3 hours that make up the smaller videos. There's a lot of work that goes into these. And sometimes by the time you're done with making your prototype, ultimately making the top that you want to make, and then finally getting it measured and on the dressmaker's dummy or on the person, you've spent 2 or 3 or even 4 weeks, which is why sometimes, as much as I would like to have these all out at once, it isn't going to happen. But that doesn't stop me from getting bits out at a time until I can sit down like this. One moment. Oh, it's my grandson out there playing. That's nice. But getting bits and pieces of a video done is really super hard because the continuity has to be there. So please forgive me if I do not get this done in a timely manner, or I do not get videos done in a timely manner, simply because, all right, so I'm down to my last stitch, my last chain. Oh, there we go. And there we go. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that and single crochet it. There we go. That's a much nicer looking one now, right? Because I don't have that long chain that I did the first time. So like I said, when we get done this, I'll probably take it all out again and redo it. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay. So again, all I'm going to be doing, and now we don't have to create a strap on the other side. So literally all I'm going to be doing is creating a single crochet in every single crochet all the way down to the other armpit now. Okay. So here we are, we're down in our second valley, and like I said, because this is along the back, all right, I want it to lie nice and flat. So I'm going to do a single crochet, and this is going to tighten up these single crochets a lot. Okay. And there we are. So I did a single crochet in every one of those nasty long single crochets, and it just tightened everything up nicely. And now we've got a nice continual look to that area, even though those first single crochets did not look very good. Okay. So we are almost done this. Now, if it were me, all right, and I know it's not, but if it were, it's one of my favorite things to say. It's from a very, very old movie. I guess it's not that old. It's still color, and I've watched black and white movies galore. If it were me to make this for myself, I would do one more round, and that's why I said make these longer. Make these as long, okay? Because you don't want it too short, because that's going to cut you here, and you don't want that. But if it were me, okay, I would do a third round, and that way I've got 3 or even 5 or what have you. And that's just going to cut everything in, right? So that you're not having to do all of this stitching and stopping and starting and stitching and stopping and starting. But for right now, I shall leave you, because all we're doing now with these back ones is we're just double crocheting in them. That's all we're doing. Okay. Do not try to attach it. You will regret it. Attach it afterwards, and I'll show you how. Okay. So finish up the thing. I will catch up with you at the end of this round, and then we put the straps together. All right. Be right back. Okay. So now I've just got a couple of stitches to the end. We'll attach the straps. So like I said, this is where you can finish if you only want the itty bitty little straps, right? If you do want those longer, the wider straps, do another round and come up. And as you're coming to the top of this, okay, you're going to want to make sure you do 1 and then 2 and then 1, so that you've got a nice flat top to finish that. Okay. So just like you would with anything else. So now, rather than, because I do want this to look a little nicer, okay, as well as on the bottom, I am going to show you, we'll go like this. I have not chained, okay, because what I want is, now I'm going to get my needle here. I want a nice flat top. Again, I don't want anybody to say, oh yeah, I see exactly where she's finished. So what I'm going to do is, here's where I slip stitched in. I'm actually going to skip that. I'm going to go into the next one, and then I'm going to come back around to that. And yes, you can see that if you give it a bit of a tug. it's almost invisible. There is another way to do it, but I find that it's a lot hinkier and a lot scarier. I like mine to be perfect. Okay. Now, because I want to do this on the inside so that it's less noticeable, I am going to come down here and I am going to do it on the back or the inside, the wrong side, so that I can make it less visible. There are lots of ways to make that invisible join. Okay. But as you can see, if I'm looking at this, all right, it's really hard to tell. You've got that extra long stitch, and that's really the only way that you can tell that I've done that. And that's what I would do. Rather than doing the chain one and then putting it through on something that's wearable like this, I don't want anybody to be itchy. And that is right at the right at the armpit. Okay. And I don't want that. However, because I'm not doing the chain one to knot it off, I would come through here and I would do this at least 3 times, being mindful that you don't want to pull too tight and you don't want this to be too bulky. Okay. So that's what I would do. That's what I did. All right. Now we just need little bits and bobs here to sew on, but I'm going to do it as easy as possible. And the other reason I want to do it this way is because, again, I want it to be as invisible as possible. So I'm just going to take a little bit of yarn. It's not very long. That's it. I'm going to fold it in half so that I don't have a knot. Again, I don't want knots. So I don't want to have to go back and forth 15 times for the beginning and the end and everything in between. So what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure this isn't twisted, so it's nice and straight. I'm going to catch up my very, very last stitch in that. And then, oh goodness, that was really tight. And I've got a really big needle. Now I'm going to come back to the top on this side. Okay. Oh, fudge sickles. Let's try that one more time, shall we? Making sure it's flat. It's not twisted in any way. I'm going to come here. Now, what I am going to do is I'm just going to make sure, again, I want to make sure it's not twisted. So I'm pulling it tight, not twisted. And I'm going to come in. There is, can you see that? There is the top stitches of my the other side. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly, oopsie, don't twist it, Sherry. Make sure it's not twisted. Perfect. So it is not twisted. Now I've anchored that down really well. I'm going to come through the other half of that stitch. Okay, and you can kind of see I kind of messed up there a little bit. So that'll be the back. But again, it's not horrible. I can live with that. But just to make that a little bit less wonky, I am going to come back through one more time. It also secures it that much better. And again, all I'm doing is just the whip stitch. And because I've used the double thread, okay, first of all, you can see that that isn't necessarily perfect, but it's not bad. And again, anybody who says they're perfect, they're lying to you. I'm just saying. All right. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that's super snug, super tight. It's not going anywhere. And now I'm just going to work my end in. But because of the way I threaded my needle, because of the way I threaded my needle, I only have to work in two, I guess technically, but one end. Okay. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a snug tug, not too tight. And I'm going to come all the way back over here because this is going to be my weakest edge because it's not attached the way the other one is. Okay. Now I'm just going to make sure I've got that. So I'm just going to go a couple more stitches here. There we go. And I think that is good enough because when I give that a good tug, I can see that that's very, very well done. If you're at all concerned about the front, okay, it doesn't look the same. If you want, you can do the same thing and just put a couple of stitches in there to make sure that's not going to come off or break or anything like that. But I know I've done this before a couple of times. Like I said, it takes a long time to make these videos. And yes, I waste a lot of yarn on my ends. I don't care. I would rather have an end that's too long than have an end that's going to come out on me. So we're going to do that again with this other side. So we're going to come up, bloop, and make sure that it is not twisted. Okay. And can I bring that out just a touch now? Oh, that's all as far as it goes. I'm going to find my 2 stitches on the other side, and I'm going to come through. I'm going to knot it. There we go. Now I'm going to come in the other side, and the next stitch, I'm going to pull it through. And again, because you've got that little bit of a dipsy doodle there you go. You're done. Now, if you do want to go through one more time, please feel free. And if you're doing the wider straps, you're going to do one whip stitch for every stitch in your strap. Okay. So if you've got 5 stitches, you're going to have 5 to 7 whip stitches. And again, I want that to be nice and strong. So I'm going to go back here. And as you can see, like I said, I've got a pretty large, considering how small this was. I didn't double check it. Okay, we're good. And again, I would actually not finish these off. I have measured my customers, so I'm fine. But I would not finish these off until you are 100% sure that it is going to be the right length for the person you're making it for, or for yourself, or to what have you. So I'm just going to make sure that that's going to hold. And I'm just going to go just a couple more stitches around just to give that corner some body. Again, you can do this as little or as much as you like, remembering that you don't want to make whoever is wearing, there we go. You don't want to make them itchy, okay? And I'm just going to bring this down just a tiny. What is going on there? Just a tiny little bit, I think. That did not end the way I wanted it to. And again, like I said, if you feel at all unsure that something isn't going to work, just take it out and start and do, well, don't take the whole thing out. But if you don't like the way this, take those 2 rounds out, do it over again. It's fine. Always remember, you are not the only one who has made errors. Okay. So now I'm going to just snip that, pull that in a little bit. Our top is basically done. Okay. All we have now to do is the bottom. So I'm going to quickly get started on that. Now, this is where I would switch hook sizes. I didn't want this to be all ruffly or anything like that, but I do think that it would be better to do a different hook size on the bottom just to give it that extra give, especially because hips can be involved, right? So if you've got somebody you're making this for and their hips are a little wider than they want to tell you, or that you've measured or what have you, okay, then you want to make sure that this is going to give you extra room down here. Now, I know for a fact that my client or my customer is not hippie. However, I also recognize that I want her to be able to put this on and be comfortable. So I am going to give her a little bit more oomph by using my 4.5 instead of my 4. As you can see, not a whole lot of difference, but it is enough. Okay, I promise it is enough. So I'm going to start in one of these. Okay, so you want to start in the middle of one of your daisies. You're going to do a slip stitch, chain, oopsie, that is not nice. There we go. Chain 1, and you're going to do a single crochet in that same spot. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do a single crochet very carefully. Okay, and there is no rhyme or reason. This all is hinging on how tight you double crochet. Okay, some people can get 2 full stitches in their double crochets. Some people can't. So when you're going around here, okay, you're going to want to get approximately 2 full single crochets into the side of each double crochet that you've got going here, like this. Okay, so I've got 1 in the center, I've got 1 in the first round, I've got 1 into the second round, I've only got 1 into my petal because it's quite small, and then I've got 2 into each and every double crochet that I'm going to be doing around. If I get halfway around and I think that this is going to be too large, I will take it all out and do 1.5. And I'll show you what I mean by that. When I say I'll do 1.5, what I'll do is I'll put one here and one here, one here and one here. Rather than doing 2 into the double crochet, I will actually use the stems of the double crochet. Okay. So now I'm back to my white. So I'm going to do 1. I'm going to do 1 into the second row of double crochets, 1 into the first row. Oopsie. Sorry. 1 into the first row of double crochets and 1 into the center. 1 into the first row of double crochets, or single crochets, sorry. 1 into the second single row of double crochets, 1 into the petal. Okay. And that keeps everything nice. Now it is going to give it just the tiniest hint of a scalloped edge. I have no problem with that because I think it looks pretty, but some of you may not. So some of you may want to do, okay, at your corners, what you might want to do, and I'm just going to take it back out. You may want to do your single crochet in here, okay, to bring this up a bit. You're going to go way down and do a single crochet that way. And then you can continue. And what that's going to do is that's going to make that look a little bit flatter. Okay, see how that brings that up a bit? All I've done is I've just come in here with this crochet. It's totally up to you. Okay, there are so many ways to finish these, and I've seen a dozen ways, but I also know that I know what my customer wants. So I'm going to just do 2 single crochets into each double crochet, the side of each double crochet. I'm going to do 1 into the flower. I'm going to do 1 into the second row, 1 into the first row, 1 into the center, 1 into the first row, 1 into the second row, and 1 into the petals. And then I'm just going to keep on with my single crochet. So I will meet up with you when we get back to the beginning of this round. We'll take a look at how, see how it looks. And then I shall leave you there to finish off, because that, my dears, is the end of it. I will put this onto my dressmaker's dummy, and we shall see how it looks. Okay, remembering that my dressmaker's dummy is actually larger because she's a good size medium. My dressmaker's dummy is larger than the lady I'm making this for. It's going to look a little bit funky, but that's fine. We can make it work. So I shall meet up with you shortly. All right, everybody, we're going to have a little noise coming in here today because I do believe my sweet little grandson Warren is going to come in and play for a while. So we might have some giggles and some noise. So I'm at my very last round, or my very last stitch. So I'm just going to slip stitch. Okay, I'm going to chain 1, and in that same stitch, I'm going to single crochet. And I'm going to take a peek at what's going on. And I like the way this is looking. I've kept my stitches nice and loose. Okay, I've got a little bit of a wave to the bottom of it, which will straighten out with each successive round I do. So it is totally up to you how many rounds you want on this. I think I'm going to do 3 rounds, maybe. We'll see how it looks after the second round. But I will leave you here. So this is the end of the video. I will take some pictures when I've got it all done, but this is the end of our video. So now all I'm going to do is just, again, I've single crocheted in that first stitch. I'm just going to continue single crocheting all the way around until I get back to the beginning again. And like I said, I think I might just do 3 rounds. I'm not sure. I will meet up with you after 3 rounds and we'll take a look at how it looks. And then I will put it on my dressmaker's dummy once I get that awful, awful, awful pattern off of there. Oh, that thing has been just a nightmare and a half. All right, I will pause you here and I will meet up with you after my 3 rounds. Be back soon. Just thought I would share with you. I've been down here and again, this just shows how long these, and yes, I'm using my Christmas plates, just how long these videos can take. I've been down here for about 4 hours now, and my wonderful husband decided I needed some lunch. So he's made me a lovely toasted sandwich, which I really appreciate. All right, so I am just about done my 3rd round of single crochets, and I am loving this. So I think this is where I shall leave it just because I can. And honestly, this is just, I don't very often make wearables like this, but this is just so adorable. I absolutely love this thing. So having said that, now I will show you the truly invisible join. All right, so this is the stitch I started with. This is the stitch I'm ending with. I'm going to pull that through. Now what I'm going to do is, no, I did not chain one. No, I did not slip stitch. I'm actually going to create the slip stitch by giving that a bit of a tug so that it's nice and uniform, bringing it through, and then bringing it back through. So I'm creating an artificial slip stitch, basically, with my thread. Now, as you can see, okay, it is virtually impossible when I do this the right way. It's virtually impossible to see where I joined and where I didn't. Now, in order to keep this nice and tight, I would go back through that stitch I created and then come back down here and put it through so that I now have lots of area to create my end with. But as you can see, you cannot tell. You absolutely cannot tell. Thank you. You absolutely cannot tell where I've joined, where I've started, where I've ended. And that is the invisible join. And you want to do that on a lot of your wearables. I think that for in the future, if I'm going to make this more, I think that I would actually do this with my squares as well, just to prevent this sort of thing from happening. And I kind of left that there so that you can see what happens. But honestly, I would definitely do that a lot more in my wearables than I ever would in something else. Okay. Oh goodness, I'm not sure what I was doing there. But I would definitely do that in my wearables. I would do that in, say, a specialty blanket that I was making for someone that is in the round. You can't obviously do that on a square, but you can still make your ends less visible by creating that artificial join. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to do this one last end in, and then I'm going to, I guess that's my start. And there is actually ways that you can start without a slip stitch or slip knot as well. And that prevents this bump from happening. In another video, perhaps we'll do joins and so on and so forth. I am woefully behind on videos right now. So I am truly, truly, truly sorry. I will get more videos made. I promise. Now that all of my house guests have left me and abandoned me and gone back down to the States, I do miss them. But it is nice to have my house back, I won't lie. All right. I have no problem ending that there. Now we'll just take a quick look at this. There we go. All right. So there is the end of the top. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of give to that. I do like it with just the 3 rounds. If I was going to do more, I would actually flip it as I did it. Okay. Because I don't want that to curl up on me. There we go. Now, for usage of yarn, this is only my second ball. And as you can see, I still have almost a half a ball left. So depending on the size of needle you're using, a hook you're using, depending on how big you're making it, this I would think would be good for an extra small, and maybe even a medium. You might want to buy 3 just in case. Okay. So having said that, we are done. I'm going to go take some pictures and I'm going to put together the videos, which is probably going to take me longer than I thought, because I always assume, and then, yeah. So I'm going to show this to you now as as I'm making a mess. Goodness, there we go. Okay. Oops, I got it sideways. All right, let's try that again. There we go. All right. So there we are. It is done. And this is I think it's probably a nice size small, bordering on extra small. Okay. And that's because of the size of yarn that I used. The thicker your yarn that you use, the larger it's going to be. The thicker your yarn is, the larger your hook you're going to use, and all of those things. Okay. So having said all of that and having talked your ear off for pretty sure it's been close on to 2 hours now, I'm going to leave this, take some pictures for you all, and hopefully, if YouTube lets me, put a picture at the beginning rather than having you wait till the end. Everybody, one quick little video to finish it off, and maybe I'll use this to start it, who knows. But here it is on my dressmaker's dummy. As you can see, I have not gotten this done and washed and everything else. And as you can see, my dressmaker's dummy is a little bit larger than it could be for this top. But again, it is probably a larger small, even into the mediums. And this lady that I'm making this for is definitely a small. So having said that, here is the back. There we go. Here is the front, or the sides, I mean. As you can see, that holds together beautifully. It holds together beautifully. And if you can imagine arms coming out here, okay, this is probably got too small of a strap for this dummy and for a lady this size, or a person this size, sorry. A person this size. However, I also know that she is smaller than this dummy, and because her and I have hugged many times, and I know that she is way smaller than this dummy. No, I don't hug my dummy. But anyway, all right. So there you are, done and dusted. All I've got to do now is wash it, lay it flat to dry, make sure that it is perfectly, so that we don't have like little bits and bobs sticking out in the wrong places. And then I will give this to her on Friday. And there's some money made. Just FYI, I probably put in, for those of you who are marketers like me, I probably put in probably a good, I would say $20 worth of yarn. And I quoted her $55 on this. Now, if I was just making this without the video, okay, this would not have taken me half as long. I could have probably had this done in about 3 days. You know, $30 doesn't sound like a whole lot. $40 doesn't sound like a whole lot for 3 days worth of work. But again, the more you make, the faster you get. The faster you get, the better it is. The better it is, the more you make. So there you go. And honestly, I am loving how this looks. It really is so pretty. And I can't say enough about this. I'm just tickled pink with what we put together here. But as you can see, my poor dummy here is a lot larger than this blouse. But that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, it works. It works. So here we are, and all done and dusted and ready to go. And this video is now complete. All I have to do is put it all together for you. And I hope that you truly have an amazing day. Fall is here. Winter's coming. Be warm, be well, be happy, everybody. Be kind to yourself. My name is Sherry, and I am addicted to yarn.